To climb the mountain, a beginning indie author's journey. Now before I go too far in, I just want to introduce myself. I'm an Australian writer named Riley Morrison. I live in Perth and I write primarily in the fantasy, science fiction, post-apocalyptic, steampunk, a whole list of genres really. I've never really stuck to the one. My first book, Heir to a Lost Son, will be coming out later this month on November 20th. But I have been writing for about 3 years now, mainly in the post-apocalyptic type genre, and I've written probably 600,000 words now. Once I get things sorted, I intend to really get into this podcasting thing a bit on the side. I listen to many different podcasts by a lot of great writers, the Wordslinger podcast, the Sterling and Stone guys, Creative Pen, Self-Publishing with Dale is a new one I watch on YouTube. There's so many different ones. Each one has taught me a lot over the last 3 years in their own way. And while it'd be great to become as big as some of these people, I'd be happy with just helping a few people on the side, really. I mean, this is a fun thing to do for me, and I intend to keep doing it so I can come back even to listen to some of my older videos and remember what I was doing at the time, especially now that I'm going up to launching my first book. I intend to go into detail on how I intend to launch it and share some ideas and stuff and see how they play out. I want to make my book some sort of case study, which would be great. And that way I can even come back in, say, 5 years' time and just listen to how I launched my first book and go into some detail about it. Because, yeah, a lot of people lack that. You're probably 5 years in and you've completely forgotten, or at least mostly forgotten, how you launched your first book. So I think that'd be something valuable to have, even if just for personal reasons. I studied history at university and stuff, so I love history and just keeping records of things. But today's episode is going to be about something I've learned and particularly applied the last few months as I've become really, really busy with life stuff as well as preparing my books for launch, and that is the idea of pacing. For those of you who don't know, pacing is something that applies to exercise quite often. They give it to old people to do. If they can't walk, say, 1 hour a day, 5 days a week, they can leave their house, go on a 15-minute walk, return home, rest for a few hours, and then go on another 15-minute walk. It's often taught to people with disabilities or elderly people, although it could be beneficial to anyone, even young people really. Don't have time to do an hour walk a day, you can do, say, 10, 15 minutes 3 times a day. And this has also been useful for riding. Chris Fox talks about riding sprints and the benefits of it. I've really applied his techniques over the last few months, and I've managed to get my word count to roughly, say, 2,500 to 2,700 words per hour is usually roughly it, just by doing 4 15-minute sprints a day. I don't always get 4 done. Sometimes I get more done. Sometimes I get less done. But I generally add about 650 to 700 words per 15-minute sprint when I do them. So this is something that's really benefited me as a writer because I can focus on other stuff like reading up on launch strategies and marketing, researching sites, or even just doing my general. I have 2 day jobs, so I do them, and I have a 18-month-old son. They all keep me busy. So this allows me to, if I get, say, 15, 20 minutes to spare, I'll do a writing sprint and get a decent word count done. And I really think any writer can really benefit from doing these writing sprints. If you can get intensely focused for 15 minutes, it usually helps to have an extra 5 minutes around it just so you can get in the zone, get settled, and then start. And you don't even have to do 15 minutes really. If you've got 10 minutes, 5 minutes even. I think in 5 minutes I get about 200 words, something like that. 200 words, if you can do 5 minutes a day, 3 times a day, that's 600 words a day. Any amount you can do really. Just give yourself a bit of time around it, because trust me, it's hard to just come in, sit down and start writing at high speed. You can really increase your productivity doing this, and I really have, because I've been focused on other stuff like the book 1 and book 2 in the series that I'm releasing starting later this month. I'm also writing short stories around it, and I also wrote my reader magnet Fall of a Lost Son using the writing sprint method. And I managed to get from the first word to the finished word and publish and have it proofread and get a cover and everything, all in the space of 30 hours, spread over about a 3-week period, just by using the sprint method, writing sprints and then later editing sprints. I found it very useful, and I'm writing another book like that just on the side. I'll focus on my main books, and then I'll do a few sprints a day for the side book. There's no real plan of that. I usually write into the dark, or a pantser as some people call it. I'm able to write this side book as well as focus on my main books, and the side book really doesn't take much time of the day out while I'm busy with the other books. Just to give you some numbers, if you can write, say, as fast as I can, say 650 to 700 words in 15 minutes, and you say do 3 sprints a day, that's about 2,500 words per hour. And if you times that by, say, 7 days a week, or even less, but it's up to you, that's roughly 14k words a week. I mean, I know it's a bit more, I'm just being conservative with my estimates here. Just think about what you can do with 14,000 words a week, or even if you only get 10,000 words a week using this sprint method. It's a lot of words. A month, that's 30,000 words if you do 10,000 a day. So it'd take you, say, roughly 2.5 months to write a full-length novel, or at least the first draft. And if you use the same method for editing and stuff, you'll get that done a lot quicker. And then your book's done. Of course, if you can, you get it professionally edited and all the other stuff that comes with it. But it really can increase your productivity. It took me a long time. Like, I've been writing for 3 years now, fairly full on when I get the time. Not like a full-time writer or anything. I'd love to be one day. I've tried to do a little bit every day. Before I was using the sprint method, I'd usually get between 600 and 1,000 words a day. And originally that'd take me an hour or more. I got that down to about 45 minutes. And now in a 45-minute period, I can probably write about nearly 2,000 words. At the moment, I'm doing NaNoWriMo, and I'm just doing the sprints. I'm generally getting the NaNoWriMo count done and a bit more in 45 minutes a day. It's almost so far made NaNoWriMo so much easier than it used to be. It used to be such a challenge to even think of writing 50,000 words a month, but now I'm just doing it on the side because I'm focusing on so much on other stuff, building my website and my newsletter through Insta3B and all sorts of other stuff. And I can just do this on the side, and I feel confident I can easily finish NaNoWriMo. Unlike last year, I only got about 30,000 words done. So it just takes discipline, and if you can just focus your mind on the writing for 15 minutes or even less, 5 minutes, whatever, then you can really add to your word counts. I really think it makes a difference doing it in the sprint, because you feel like you've got a race. I mean, the quality, like at first, I think the quality will drop. You'll probably hate what you're writing. Occasionally I'll just stuff up as I'm writing and I think, oh my God, I want to go back and fix that, because normally I would if I wasn't doing the sprint. But I forced myself to go on. I just remember, it's almost like I do want a sign of it above my desk one day, and that is, it can be fixed in editing, because everything can be fixed in editing. The first draft does not have to be perfect. Just get down a rough idea of what you want and then fix it later. Or even if worse comes to worse and you have a few minutes after the sprint and you're worried about the spelling mistakes or the really bad sentences, then spend a few minutes fixing it up, because it makes so much difference once you get the words down to begin with than just looking at an empty screen like a blank page. Once you've got the words there, even if they're rough as hell, you can fix them and make it so much better. And it's such a great way to write. I'm not usually someone who's very sports focused or anything like that, but still, it's such a great feeling just upping your word count, especially when you add it all up and get your words per hour. It's such a great feeling to see, holy moly, I've written 2,600 words per hour. I think I wrote 2,750 or something was the highest I've gotten so far. And that's such a great feeling, just the thought of even getting numbers like that within an hour. And especially when it's just something I just come to on the side. I'm not thinking about that, say, side story very much during the day, but I can just come to it and race and do a sprint. And there's so much benefit to just doing it. I just feel like I'm improving myself as a rider more than I would be just normally riding. I mean, I wasn't very good at it at first, and I'm sure you won't be when you first start. Just give yourself time to get better at it. Everything that you learn in life, you're usually not a master of it straight away, but you learn through experience and get better and better. Just remember that. Not everything has to be learned straight away. The more sprints you do, the better at it you'll get. Your riding will improve, and then you won't have to worry so much about how bad it is and stuff like that. You'll just ride, or probably maybe even as high as your quality would be if you're riding a lot slower. Mine works pretty quickly, but I assume everyone can do this. I know Chris Fox and a lot of people that swear by this method have all said basically the same thing. It just takes practice, and you'll do it eventually. And then you won't have to do as much editing and fixing things. You can always add description and stuff later if that's something you really need to think about. Just even write a note for yourself, insert description here. I sometimes do that. Or if I can't think of the name of something or something like that, I'll just put capital X's so I know to come back and fix it later. Now, with me writing short stories between my novels, I'll probably go into this in more detail in a future episode. I know other authors, experienced authors like Michael Anderley's a good example, talked about this because he can't keep up with the demand of his readers. They want a new book every 2 weeks or something. So he found a good way, compromise, that he can write his full books and take a bit longer than a month, but then he can release a short book in between to keep them happy until the next major book comes out. And I'd love to do that, as well as the idea that I might get one major novel out and then a short book and still be in the new releases at the same time. And there's more chance of being discovered, having more content out there, of course. And if it's all tied to your main series and someone discovers your short story, by short story I usually mean 15 to 25,000 words roughly, they might go back and read your main books. I give away a short story on Insta Freebie for that reason. I just knocked it together quickly as I discussed earlier and get people on my newsletter and stuff and more people discovering me. And I've even had people sign up through my website for it, and even though my main book isn't out, which is nice. So I try to be active in some author communities and other online communities if I can, though I don't spend too much time doing that. So I'm glad that people have discovered me somehow and have joined up to my mailing list to get their free book. So it's a prologue book, and I hope they go on to read the series. This method has definitely helped me. I think it can help you too. I hope you found this beneficial and that you can apply it to your own writing and increase your productivity. If you have any questions for me, you can leave them in the comments under this video, or you can email me at mail@rileymorrison.com, which is also my email web address, rileymorrison.com. The other links to my social media will be in this video description. If you just want to say hello in the comments or anything, that's great. I'll say hi back. I don't bite. And I liked meeting other authors and talking to them. I love the local author community here in Perth too. There's so many really great authors. Some of them are pretty big sellers on Amazon, others small, but they all have a passion for the writing community. We all like supporting each other, and I hope you have a local writing community like that too, especially this time of year for NaNoWriMo. It's good to get with other authors and do writing. So there's a lot of passion out there. There's a lot of writers out there. I was blown away actually by how many writers are out there. It's definitely fun to get involved in the community and say hello to one another and even help each other if you can. Thanks for listening and take care.